Travis Wayne Goodsell. I had done this video earlier, but the headphones were plugged in, so the volume was crap. So I have to redo it. But this is big. I had found out from another YouTube channel that only quoted Heber C. Kimball. And it's from the New York Times, April 17th, 1860. And I confirmed and found the actual New York Times article. And it was Heber C. Kimball putting in the article to notify the missionaries in New York City. And I went to the New York mission for my 19-year-old mission. And before I went, my father had gotten angry at me, saying that while I am on my mission, there is no woman for me to marry. And I was confused because I purposely left behind the women at Rick's, because I knew that I would just get a Dear John if I tried to cling to any of them. Nonetheless, it was a weird switch for my dad, because in '86 my dad thought I was gay, came into my bedroom with the Farrah Fawcett iconic poster, which for me, she's a cougar at that age. She still is a cougar for me. But it was weird. And my uncle decided to turn gay and abandon his family, wife and 3 daughters, to live with a partner. And so this was the background setting for my life. And so as I'm reading this, I knew of it. I didn't realize that this was the actual practice of it. I was just joking from what I was learning, and it's bad. It is bad. And so it's one thing for a critical channel to just post the quotes, let it speak for themselves. It's another thing for someone who has knowledge on the subject matter to give additional commentary, to point out the things that most people won't catch. Because when I read over this, yeah, there's going to be a blatant thing that you're going to catch and be offended with, especially women in the audience, which I'm losing my women. Maybe this will get them back. But it's awful. So let's begin. He said, "Brethren, I want you to understand that it is not to be as it has been hithertofore." So there's the previous practice. And you must understand that I already knew it was being done in secret as the Danites under Joseph Smith. Brigham Young and Heber C. Kimball were the leaders of the Danites. This again confirms Heber C. Kimball as the president with Brigham Young in the Quorum of the 12, even though it was a counselor. They were running the show behind Joseph Smith's back, running the Danites, running the criminal operations. This confirms this. And so this is the practice that they had been doing under Joseph Smith and carried with them to Utah when Brigham Young again went out with missionaries. The brother missionaries have been in the habit of picking out the prettiest women for themselves. See, that's the part that's going to get your attention. Before they get here. And bringing on the ugly ones for us. Heber had 43 wives, and here he is upset with the missionaries who were getting polygamous wives, of whom they were choosing the pretty ones, and the ugly ones bringing back for the leaders of the church to pick from. This is horrific, because Heber and Brigham Young used to go out as missionaries. And if you don't know, Brigham Young had been caught numerous times, both in the United States and in England, just having sex affairs with married women. As children would report that they saw mommy go in with Brigham Young into the bedroom and then come out an hour later while the husband was away. And this was the practice of Brigham Young's Danites in the mission field. They purposely filled up the missionary slots to overthrow Joseph Smith's church. And they continued the practice with Brigham Young's church here in Salt Lake Valley. And it was all about sex. That's all this is. Brigham Young, through Heber C. Kimball here, is exposing that missionary work was only for sex trafficking. That's it, that's all. Had nothing to do with the Book of Mormon, had nothing to do with Joseph Smith and the founding prophet. It was for sex trafficking. That's all his church was about. And the article goes on with other stuff. History shows that polygamy has never existed in any community for 50 years without women becoming an article of merchandise. And then there's another one about a woman who was sent to deliver pumpkins to a guy, and she was part of the deal. These are Mormon women converted into the church as the ugly ones. Oh, this is horrible. And this is the common practice here in the Salt Lake Valley. And I don't remember any stories being passed down concerning any of this, but it would have come through my mom's side of the family, because both of my great grandparents through my mom's side were Danite pioneer ancestry. Everybody else either were converts in later on or were John Solomon Fulmer, who I've done the video about. Dear God. Yeah, there's the pumpkins. Wagon load of pumpkins. She was part of the sale. And he sent her back. Oh, this is just heart-wrenching. I mean, literally, to find out that you were one of the descendants of the ugly wives. As Heber C. Kimball is trying to change this. But he still keeps going here. We're not done. Hereafter, you have to bring them all here before taking any of them, and let us all have a fair shake. Yeah, this is going to change under Nelson and Oaks. With the Respect for Marriage Act that I've exposed, if Congress actually disregards me and thinks, no, the church would never do this. No, they couldn't have had. They won't do this. They will. And if it happens and it gets signed into law, the church, establishing Zion, will restore polygamy, and the prophets will be the ones to choose, because the leaders must come first. And then they'll be forced to dip down into the underage category for child bride marriages. And again, if you think that they aren't going to choose the ugly ones, This is just awful. To have gone through both the younger singles ward and the older singles ward, been through that nightmare of a meat market. This is horrific. And just quoting this does not make you fully aware of what I know, having been born and raised in the covenant, living my life as a Mormon, knowing the traditions that have been passed down culturally. As you know, there's still those Mormons who believe that polygamy is coming back for the second coming or the millennium, and that it's not just for the afterlife. And the horrible treatment of women by the church. Because this is very clear, women. If you're a Mormon woman, this is how the church thinks of you. This is called sexism, misogyny. This is what white supremacists do. And they don't love you. You are for sex. That's it. That's all. This confirms it. Heber C. Kimball, the voice for Brigham Young, is telling the missionaries in 1860 of the current practice. And then it's got to change because Heber wants number 44, number 45, number 46, number 47, number 48, number 49, number 50 to be better looking.